Hi, I'm Jason Freed with Lund Boats. You know, today's electronics are like having modern day computers in your boats. And more importantly than just marking fish and being able to identify fish, you can also kind of create a story or create a landscape as to what is going on beneath the water. And so not just to mark fish, but I'll use electronics to figure out where rocks are, weeds, all right? And what I do is I use a series of waypoints, all right? And a lot of times people, they put a waypoint down and maybe it's a blue dot or a white dot, but using my Lowrance electronics here, as I'm driving along here right now, I'm looking for scattered boulder piles. So here on my side scan, I can notice I've got some just scattered boulders here, nothing real, what I would call snaggy or anything like that, but just nice standard boulders that I might want to pitch a jig on for smallmouth or if it's a windblown walleyes. And what I'll do then is I start to see it. So right here, I come across a nice rock pile. I'll go ahead here, I'm gonna hit my waypoint button. And what happens is I can switch my icons, all right, and I can use a whole series of icons. And so what I like to do, like if I'm marking rocks and I see there's an isolated rock pile, for example, I'm gonna use that rock icon and I'm gonna save that, all right? And then now as I'm moving along, I can make a series of icons, and you might have a rock spine, a rock pile, a series of scattered boulders, and I can utilize those rock icons then to kind of help give me an idea of what that line is as I'm fishing. And that's gonna help me in terms of boat control and being more precise to stay maybe off of those fish and to catch more fish. And so whether it's rocks, whether it's marking cabbage weed, transition areas, those are all gonna be areas, and what you can do is utilizing your waypoints, as I said, you can use a series of icons to kind of give you an idea. And so on my graph, I've got weed icons, rock icons. I'll use color is another big thing. If I mark a fish on a certain day, I might use that color. And then I can go back and I can even figure out seasonal patterns. Sometimes in the months of June, I might use this color. In the months of July, I might switch to this color. And then I can kind of go back, and because of using those colors, I can see where are those fish migrating. And so, instead of having a bunch of blue dots or red dots or whatever, icon you use on your graph, using different icons to mark certain pieces of structure or fish, or to tell migration patterns, or even just hazards. The other cool thing you can oftentimes do, and I do this from a safety standpoint, is when you go ahead and create a waypoint, there's a lot of times where you're gonna be out on the water and a storm might come through and you need to get off the water. And so one of the things I will do is when I'm on a lake that I know, I wanna make sure I know where the different resorts and public accesses are. And what I'll do is when I hit my waypoint, I can actually go on there and I can name it, and I'll put, city access, or I'll name a resort. And so when I'm out there and if I see a storm coming in, I can look on my chart and I can say, this resort's the closest, let's get there and let's get off the water. And so it can be a safety thing as well. So whether it's using different icons to mark rocks, weeds, using different icons to mark fish, seasonal patterns, whether having one color for June, one color for July, August, to figure out maybe where those fish are moving on the lake. But what it allows you to do, like I said, is tell the story of what's going on beneath the water, and not just having a large series of one color waypoint, because by knowing where different pieces of structure are, by knowing seasonal patterns, by having where the safe places are on the lake or the hazardous places you want to stay away from, you're going to have a much more enjoyable time on the water. You're going to hopefully catch more fish, and it's ultimately going to give you a better experience.